coffee friends, my name is Tom from Tom's Coffee Corner. And my aim is to do espresso economically. And right here, I've got a pretty economical grinder. This is the Urbanic 080 grinder. It comes equipped with 60mm flat burrs, a 250 watt motor. It weighs 5 kilos. It can be ordered in either 110 volt or 220 volt for Europe. And it comes with 100 increments of settings in between pour over all the way to espresso or Turkish fine. Now, the reason that I say 100 increments is because on some websites it says 100 steps. It's not actually steps. This right here is a stepless grinder, which I find better, so you can really dial it in. This machine has a brother which looks very similar, but it only has 20 settings. And they are stepped settings. So this is quite an upgrade from that machine. This does cost about 150 more than the 070, but you can adjust your grind stepless. So that is very nice. So what I want to do in today's video is first of all inspect this machine, take a look at it, see how it's built, how does it feel, how does it look, and then we're going to do a few things. We're going to try to dial it in for espresso. We are going to do a small hack on it to make it easier to dial in. And we're going to also do a retention test. Finally, we're going to talk about the pros and cons. What do I like about this grinder and what do I not like as much? Before I go any further, let's talk about what it comes with. First of all, it comes with this grind catcher here, which is kind of nice because you can use this for weighing out your dose and for catching the dose. That's really nice, especially for pour over. It's also got some foam on the bottom, so I think that's also nice so it doesn't scratch up the paint. And it's got this cute little lid also. So that is nice. It also comes with a brush for cleaning, and that's something we're also going to do in this video is clean this thing, and I'll give it away right now. That's one of the pros. It's very, very easy to take apart and clean. Finally, it comes with this portafilter holder. One thing I'm going to say right off the bat is I wish that they had put some foam here. I think that's unfortunate to omit, considering that that's going to sit on top of there all the time and potentially scratch up the paint. But let's go on further into the machine. Let's take a closer look at the Urbanic 080. Okay, so getting a closer look at this machine, it does include quite a bit of branding. It's got the nice Urbanic logo here. It's got Urbanic written right here on the chute. And I just noticed this now. I don't know if you can tell, but this knob right here says 080 on it as well. It also comes with this clear plastic hopper. This is a 300-gram hopper. It comes with two options here on the back. You've got push on here for when you're pushing this button here. And you got on here as well for a continuous grind. And this is off. This right here is to reset a fuse inside. If you can see in there, there is an auger inside. The auger is what brings the beans in here to the burrs. I like that they have a warning here, right here for the hand. Don't stick your hands in there, obviously. Unfortunately, there is no sensor for the hopper, just as there is no sensor here for when you take this apart. That would be nice to see in a future model. Okay, but the Specialita, for example, does not have any sensors either. What else have we got going on here? This weighs 5 kilos, but considering it's tapered up like this, it's pretty easy to grab and to move around. So that is convenient, and it's got a pretty long cord as well. The cord is about 125 centimeters. The motor is 250 watts. It does not say how fast it turns. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what it looks like inside. So it comes with this plastic washer there. Be careful for that. Make sure you don't lose it or suck it up in the vacuum cleaner. And look at that. It's already taken apart. Very simple. Here you also see you've got the branding Urbanic right there as well. So this is the adjustment plate right here, and this is one gripe that I have with the machine. There's no indicator, there's no needle so that you can determine where you are on the scale, at least not on my model. Okay, so cleaning this grinder is also very easy. All you have to do is take the included brush and brush it out like that. Maybe take a vacuum and suck inside there a little bit, as well as brush the other burr. And if we measure the burr set out, we are exactly at 60 millimeters. Now these are the nice titanium burrs, by the way. When you place a model for this machine, you do have to choose if you want the normal stainless steel ones or pay an up price for the titanium. So we've gone ahead and cleaned it out. And one thing I will show you right away is that there is a fair amount of retention that gets stuck here in the chute. But I see that as both a pro and a con because of the way that the chute is designed. It is going to remove some static, remove some clumping, but at the same time, you do have some retention. So let's put this together. And see, that's pretty easy to do. And before I go any further, I want to show you a hack. This grinder, it normally comes like this. Can't see very well where you're actually at on the scale. So to make that easier to see, what I decided to do, since I'm going to use this more for espresso, is just flip it around. There we go. So it's that easy to put back together. Very nice. All right, let's plug it in and see if we can get to the end stop or not. Okay, you can see we've gone all the way to minimum. Right up here is the 080 mark, which is also the indicator. We're at 0. And we didn't hit the calibration point between the burrs, so we don't exactly know where that is. But what I do know is this grinds very, very fine. So what I'm going to do is adjust it to about 1.1 or 1.2 for the Dedica. And let's pull a shot and see how it works. Let's go ahead and measure out 16 grams and see how much retention this has. All right, 16 grams. Now let's just let that grind through. So you do see there is some static left on there right now. I don't think that we got all the stuff out of there. And lo and behold, we're at 14.6. If you can see that, we put in 16 and we got 14.6 out. So I think that if you would have a bellows for this machine, you would be in pretty good shape. Let's see how much I got out now. 15.2, that's a little better. So let's see how that grind works out for the Dedica. Oof, that looks really fine. I don't know if the Dedica is going to manage that. We might very well clog it. Let's take a look-see. Oh, no, it works. Okay, I mean, it's definitely got some spritzers in there. So my puck preparation wasn't perfect, and this is my first try dialing it in. But although it's not the most beautiful extraction ever, it did work out fairly well. And how does it taste? It tastes very good. Really, the most important characteristic for me is mouthfeel. When I go to an Italian cafe and I order an espresso, if I get one with just that luscious, thick mouthfeel, that is what I really enjoy. And second comes the rest with the taste that you get with some bittersweet notes, with some chocolate notes, with maybe tangerine or something else. But for sure, these burrs do make a really good texture. And I am all about texture. So, can this grind well for espresso? Yes, it can. And with this hack of turning the dial upside down, that also makes it a whole lot easier to dial in for your espresso. If you're using this, on the other hand, for pour-over coffee, then I would suggest keeping the dial the way that it was originally. But it's nice that you can easily flip it around. Oh, what the heck. Let's do one more try with just a slightly finer grind and see how it works. 16. Of course, I always suggest adjusting this while it's running. So let's go just under 1. And here we go. So what did we get out? Oops, this time? Oh, that was pretty good, 15.8. Not bad, just gotta bang on it enough and then it'll come out. I really suggest taking a look at Etsy, seeing if you can find a baffle for this. Then you'll be good to go. So here we are. Let's drop our load in there. It would be sweet if that was magnetic. So maybe for the next version, Urbanic, if you're listening, magnetic would be real sweet. Let's just do a little WDT in here. It's not clumpy. That's one of the advantages. I mean, the Burrs set is good. It's not too staticky. It's not clumpy. What is the case is that there is retention unless you bang on it enough. But if you consider that I also have a Mazzer Mini, and that thing also has like 2 grams of retention every time. Well, this is way cheaper than a Mini. And here we go. Okay, so again, you see some spritzers for sure. My puck preparation could use a little bit of work yet, but this shot is taking longer. This is going to be more of a 25 to 30 second shot. So what we've proven here is how fine the Urbanic can grind. It can definitely grind fine enough and make a nice espresso. That's good, but I let it run a little bit too long. I do prefer the first one. But whatever the case, this can make very tasty espresso. All right, so what are the positive aspects about the Urbanic 080 in my opinion? The first one is that it grinds extremely fast. I get 2 grams per second on this machine. I've timed it, and that is nearly twice as fast as the Specialista that I have. Point number 2, and this is probably the most important thing about any grinder, is that it provides a good grind. You can get a nice espresso from this grinder. Point number 3 that I really appreciate about a machine in this price category is that you've got stepless adjustment. I also think that this is priced economically for a 60mm Burrs set. That is a well-priced grinder. Not to mention that the grinds are not clumpy, they're not real staticky, and this machine is easy to take apart for cleaning. I really appreciate that. Just loosen these 2 screws, you don't even need a screwdriver, and you can remove the Burrs set to clean it. That's excellent. Now let's move on to the negative points about this grinder. And the first one is, and what really kind of bugged me in the beginning, you can't really see what you're dialing in, at least not for espresso, not in the configuration that it's sent with. But with the upside down hack, you can see well enough how you're dialing in. Probably the biggest negative point about this grinder is that it does have a fair amount of retention. So as you saw earlier, it gets stuck here at the top of the chute where it's split here in between. So that's kind of a negative thing. But if you would put a baffle on top to be able to kind of just blow that out, I think you'll really be in good shape. Then let's talk about haptics. The haptics on this are a little weird. You kind of have to use this portafilter holder, because if you don't, then your portafilter is going to be too far in. So that's not going to work. You have to use this, and it just doesn't hold the portafilter very well in my experience. You kind of have to hold it on there cockeyed, awkward, in order to get that to hit the button. So yeah, using this portafilter holder is a bit awkward. It's nicer actually to use this and then transfer it into the portafilter. Also, I wouldn't really recommend using this unless you put some foam on the bottom, because you don't want to scratch up this nice matte black surface here. Yeah, and okay, there's this plastic screw on the back. It would be nice if that screw was metal, but you know, what are you going to do? Now on to a few neutral points about this grinder. Let's talk about noise. It's not too noisy. It's also not the quietest grinder that I've ever heard. It's not as quiet as the Eureka Mignon line, but it's also not nearly as loud as many others that I've tried. So I would put that in the neutral category. And the second neutral point is aesthetics. The looks are not going to be for everybody, but I'm sure that many people will like the look of this grinder. Why don't you let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about the looks of this grinder? So one last thing before we come to our summary. This, again, is the big brother of the 070. And the 070 has the same Burrs set inside. It's got the 60mm Burrs. What's different is that the 070 does not have a stepless setting here. It's only got 20 grind settings, but it's about 150 cheaper. So that might be something to check out as well. If you want to check out either the 080 or the 070, take a look in the description box down below. I will put a couple of links down there. Okay, so what did we do today? We reviewed this grinder, we talked about the haptics, about the aesthetics, about the specifications, and we did a test. How does it grind? How is the retention? How is it to clean? If you have any other questions, write them into the comment section down below. I'd like to hear your opinion. All right, until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.